At Warrigal, we design all of our buildings to meet what's called the accessible building standards, which is stipulated under the Australian standard. And all that means is the buildings, in this case the Spinnaker buildings, is designed in a way that accommodates someone who's not only just an older person, but also whose care needs might change to require a wheelchair or a mobility aid. And that translates to a number of different features that we see across apartments. Things like kitchen benchtop heights, things like the type of tapware that we use, also the width of doorways, circulation space within the lobbies, not only within the dwellings but outside the dwellings as well, things like door thresholds. So there's a number of features that we'll have a look through today which make it easier and practical for an older person to remain living in one of these dwellings long term. Some of the features that are key to the kitchen, so very important for everyone who loves spending time in the kitchen, but also very important to make sure they're suitable for older people, include the appliances and how we've been very intentional about how we set those out. Also seeking advice from occupational therapists to make sure we design the kitchens in a way that meet the needs of anyone who might use it. Two of the key elements are the way that we situate the microwave and the oven. Things that might not catch your eye straight away but do make a big difference to the functionality of the kitchen are like side swing ovens, so that items can be easily taken out, moved to the benchtop without having to navigate a door that impedes on the space that you're standing in. Also the height and that the microwave and oven have been situated so they don't require bending down to the ground or also reaching up high. Some of the other things that you'll see in the kitchen are trying to maximise the amount of drawer space, so we don't have large cupboards which are really hard to access. But in the space where we do have cupboards, we've adopted some features like lazy Susans in the corner, so some of that hard to reach space in the back of a cupboard can be easily accessed as well. We've tried to accommodate the fridge spaces to be suitably sized to whatever fridge that you may bring in. Also the height that we've situated over bench cupboards as well, slightly lower than what you would generally see, although I wouldn't say it's obvious, so you don't lose any of your usable bench space. However, by bringing down the height of the cupboards, it makes the majority of this space quite accessible for someone who's potentially shorter or who has mobility challenges as well. One of the main features for ensuring that all of these dwellings are accessible for anyone really, but particularly those who have mobility challenges or walking aids, is anytime there's a threshold. So we make a really conscious effort to eliminate any steps across our villages, and so to ensure that someone can make their way from their car in the basement car park all the way up to every area of the dwelling without having to navigate a step. And one of the little features that we've adopted for our external alfresco doors is by integrating a recessed sill, which took a lot of working with our consultants to make sure we not only achieve a nice zero transition, but we also maintain the waterproofing, which is a big challenge with buildings like this. So you can see here we have a zero transition from the internal timber flooring to your outdoor paver, so that you can easily roll a wheel over that or walk over that without fear of tripping. So that's a great feature that a lot of time and effort's gone into, but makes a big difference to just everyday life. The positioning of power points and switches, not only are they a slightly larger power point to make it easier for all people to operate, they're also situated at a really comfortable height, so it doesn't require bending down or it doesn't require reaching up. It's at an accessible height, which is stipulated under the Australian standard to make it accessible for anyone that might use it. And another key thing, which is not obvious but it is very important, is the width of our doorways. So all doorways are slightly larger than what you'd see in a normal residential setting to make it easier for someone with a mobility aid or a wheelchair to navigate through that. In the Spinnaker building as well, we've also chosen to install grab rails. Through listening to our customers, we received feedback that not only did the customers want blocking in the walls for future provision for grab rails, but also for them to be installed from day one so that it removes any need or issues with them wanting to install these down the track, which can be tricky when you're trying to locate services in walls and making sure you're getting into the timber. So what we've done, we've worked with our architect and interior designer to choose what is a more residential type looking grab rail, to not try and just not look too clinical, but we've put the grab rails in the areas where they are required under the Australian standard in the accessible code. So next to the toilet suite, also in the bathroom, in the shower, we have the vertical rail and the horizontal rail as well, which all matches in with the fixtures and fittings that we've used in the apartments here. Also things like minimising the step into the shower, which can also be removed in future if need be, to make it easy for someone who may be using a walker to get in and out of the shower. Another important space within the dwelling is the lounge room, living, and how they operate and are used. And we're finding more and more frequently our customers want to mount their TV on the wall, and that can become problematic if there's no physical structural provisioning in there. So what we've done at the Spinnaker building is we've had our builder put blocking in the wall at a really generous height so that accommodate where someone may choose to mount their TV in the future. So eliminate any need for cables and TV units and things like that. It is not generally noticed or may not even need to be used, but it's there in case of emergencies or wet area doors, so bathrooms. We have removable hinges so that if someone was to have a fall behind the door and their loved one or family needed to get in to give them support or emergency services, the doors can be lifted off the hinges to give people that access if needed. So with the apartments, we've adopted what's called like a Euro style laundry, where we have the laundry concealed behind some operable doors. And this really allows the laundry to have all those essential features that you might need, like the dryer, washer, sink, and storage as well. However, it doesn't take up some of what could be more precious real estate within the apartment, which we'd rather dedicate towards the living areas, bedrooms. So when we talk about accessibility and suitability for older people, that really starts from the basement or where you park your vehicle all the way up to your floor. And some of the things that make this a little bit different to a standard parking space is the space itself is about 1.5 spaces wide. So that makes it easier if you're using a mobility aid to get in and out of your vehicle, to open your doors up nice and wide. There's nothing worse than when you're in a busy apartment car park and basement and the spaces are crammed in, where we've done the complete opposite of that here in the basement car park. Some of the other features that we have that kind of exceed the requirement from compliance standards, but we choose to do because we hear from our customers that the things that that are important to them are by having PowerPoints in each individual parking space. So here you can see we've got 4 individual PowerPoints for people who may choose to charge tools or different items, household items that they want to have down here, or if they're operating a tool down here, they can use those to service that. So that's just some feedback we have. Another thing, we're talking about storage before, but storage in the basement car park is very important. So behind each car parking bay, we've put storage cages as well, which can be locked up by the residents. So you can see here, people could choose to use this for however they see fit. So the basement car park is completely secured. So for residents of the dwellings only, they can access the car park here by using their swab. And then there's also a small amount of visitor spaces on the outside as well. So if you're having a visitor come stay with you or visit for the day, they can utilise the visitor spaces. We've incorporated a car washing bay in here as well, with drainage and water and power as well, so that people need to wash their vehicles. That can be done easily here with this dedicated space. The intercom system, so not only provides security to the basement car park, so for those who use the basement car park, they can have assurance that their vehicle is secured and safe, but also gives the ability for visitors and residents to communicate through the intercom system, which has got audio and visual, which connects up to each individual unit above. So in the Spinnaker building as well, just outside the secure portion of the basement car park, we have 2 dedicated electric vehicle charging spaces as well. So this is free for use on a user pay arrangement for residents that may call this home, or for residents of the existing Shell Cove community as well.